Today I want to talk about dual agency, and I can almost guarantee if you are inquiring with most real estate agents or companies about the meaning of dual agency, they're giving you a slippery answer about what it actually means. So undoubtedly, if you're looking at paperwork, you've got a written description, some type of disclosure as to what dual agency is, and your agent, especially if he or she works for a larger company, is saying, look, you're going to miss out on a lot of buyers, or you're going to miss out on a lot of sellers if you don't agree to dual agency. It's kind of a necessary evil. Well, it is an evil, but it's not really necessary. What dual agency means is if you have an agent working for you, say you are listing and selling your house, if the buyer who is a potential buyer for that house is also not being represented by that agent, or in most cases by any other agent in that agent's brokerage, so they might have 100 people in their office, that's still dual agency. So you may have listed your house with Sally. Bob is another agent at that brokerage, and Bob is representing the buyer. It may seem harmless enough because you have two different agents, but when you read that disclaimer carefully, you're going to realize that you're going to be screwed potentially if you're in a dual agency situation. The reason being, especially at least in my state, Minnesota, legally speaking, in a dual agency situation, neither agent can advocate exclusively on their client's behalf. So if you are in a dual agency situation, presumably one of the reasons that you hire an agent in the first place is for good advice, and if you're a seller, to get you the most money when you sell, and if you're a buyer, to get the best deal for the house that you purchase. But in a dual agency situation, suddenly neither of the agents that are involved can advocate exclusively for their client. Now that may seem relatively harmless, and what agents will say is, oh, I'm not going to talk to Bob about this, or Sally's or Bob's going to say, I'm not going to talk to Sally, we'll keep this information separate, which they will. They're not going to collude and talk behind your back. But other than price negotiations, there are a lot of things that can happen in a real estate transaction. The buyer could lose their financing, there could be an appraisal issue, there could be an inspection issue, perhaps something happens between the purchase agreement and closing, and now beyond price, you're talking about maybe the buyer, or maybe you're the buyer and you need to get out of the contract, or maybe you're the seller and you no longer want to sell your house, and you really need some good advice on the way to move forward to get you the best result for you. If you are working with a dual agent, even if there are two different people in the same brokerage, suddenly you're in a situation where if you've got one of these more serious problems, your agent is not in a position to advocate exclusively on your behalf. Essentially, what they have to do is be honest with you, not reveal anything confidential, but put their hands up and say, I don't know, I really can't help you after this. Maybe you have to call a lawyer, which maybe you should. But you can see how that can be dangerous, and even more so if your dual agent is one in the same, which means if you agree up front to dual agency, which usually asks you on the paperwork when you sign it, what if you're listing and selling your house and your agent has an open house, which I don't think you need to have, but say he does, and a buyer comes in and says, oh, I want to buy this house. Now that buyer is working with your agent. Your agent likely knows all the details about your house, what your motivations are, and how much you're willing to let the house go for. And at the same time, he knows the same about the buyer. So I always wonder, if there's a difference of opinion on price, who's going to get the better deal? Is your agent going to really advocate for you to get that higher price? Or is he going to just kind of find a spot in the middle where both people are happy? He can close the sale, double in the deal, make twice the commission, and hope everybody's happy. The fact is, you never really know. So how can you avoid dual agency? Well, you can agree to not agree to it up front, and what the agents will say is, well, you know, I'm one of the biggest real estate brokerages in town, so if you don't agree to dual agency, a lot of buyers working with clients from my brokerage aren't going to be able to see your house. That's true, but you can always work with a smaller brokerage or an independent broker like myself. There are a lot of us out there, not all of us are as good as I think I am, but you can find honest agents who work independently and aren't going to put you in that awkward position of having to wonder, is your agent really advocating for your best result, or is he or she just trying to make the deal work and get away with double the commission? So my advice is, don't agree to dual agency. Why would you? One of the reasons that you hire an agent to represent you in the first place is to have somebody advocating exclusively on your behalf, which you don't get in a dual agency situation. Find a good qualified agent who won't subject you to dual agency, and that way, from start to finish, you'll know that you're getting good information and you have somebody working on your behalf always. Hope this information helped. If you'd like more information on the truth about real estate, I'm doing a whole series. So I'm talking about broker admin fees, contracts, dual agency, cancellation clauses, things like that. So I encourage you to subscribe. And other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.